Hey YouTube, Kira Qualia here, bringing you all my Cardfight Vanguard Avantgarda deck profile. This is one of the new decks that came out of the Dragon Tree Invasion booster set used by Samuel, part of the Team USA for the Cardfight Vanguard Will Dress Season 2. The deck focuses on utilizing the different set orders that you have being placed into the soul, and also being so you have your main go-to starter, Blue Dester Sora period, in the soul as well to gain additional abilities, including the powerful restand of your Vanguard and additional power-ups that you can give to all of your units on the field for your Vanguard as well. So let's go ahead and get started with the deck profile. So for the ride deck, our starter is Blue Dester Sora period. When rode upon, if you went second, draw a card. It's the go-to starter needed for your Vanguard's main ability to be able to restand. So you definitely have to run this as your starter, also for the fact that our other cards rely on its search as well. So we have Blue Dester Dark Verdict Findus with this card when rode upon by Blue Dester Heavenly Death's Ray Stelvane. If your soul has Blue Dester Sora period, search your deck for up to one grade 1 strategy card, reveal it, put it into your hand, and then shuffle your deck. If you did not reveal a card, you may call this card to rearguard. So you have the search power thanks to this card, but the main play comes off of the fact that you'll get the needed search order into your hand for you to use. Our grade 2 is Blue Dester Heavenly Death Ray Stelvane when rode upon by a grade 3 with Avantgarda in the card name. If your soul has Blue Dester Sora period, search your deck for up to one grade 2 strategy card, reveal it, put it into your hand, and shuffle your deck. If you did not reveal a card, you may call this card to rearguard. So you have all of the rearguard setup thanks to these units, but they're also mostly just being able to have a more setup power play with those cards you can search out, with the orders being a big part for all of the power that you can choose for your Vanguards, being able to get that plus power. Along with that, we also have our grade 3, which is Blue Dester Skyrender Avantgarda, one of our main go-to grade 3s in the deck, as the added pressure that it can provide on the Vanguard circle. Before we get to the next grade 3s, I figured we'd go over the orders that we can search out. Our grade 1 being Disruption Strategy Kill Shroud. When this card is put into the soul from your order zone, choose one of your opponent's rear guards, retire it, choose one of your Vanguards, and it gets plus 5,000 power until end of turn. This is part of the searchable card you have from the ride line. That's why we're only running one copy. Same with the Bomber Strategy Dusting. When this card is put into the soul from the order zone, choose one of your Vanguards, it gets plus 10,000, and your opponent cannot intercept and cannot play blitz orders. So the fact that they can't use blitz orders is a big shutdown of your opponent's strategy right then and there. But then our next go-to order, which we are running 4 copies of, is Shock Strategy Death Wins. When this card is put into the soul from the order zone, if your opponent's Vanguard is grade 3 or greater, choose one of your Vanguards, and it gets, when this unit attacks, all your front row get plus 5 until end of turn, So with this card, you have the option to attack with your Avantgarde, restand again, attack again, and just stack up all those plus 5s that the red skill can provide that you give to your Vanguard thanks to this order. That's why we're running 4. This card just adds for added pressure on top of the Persona ride, and the plus 10 when your Vanguard restands and attacks again that this card can give. Moving on now to the grade 3s, we're running 3 additional copies of our Blue Dester Skyrender Avantgarda. If your soul has Blue Dester Sora period, put a strategy from your order zone into the soul, draw a card until end of turn. This unit gets plus 5,000, and also on Vanguard, once per turn at the end of the battle this unit attacked. If the attack hit a Vanguard or you Persona rode this turn, counterblast and discard a card from your hand, stand this unit and it gets drive -1 until end of turn. This is the pressure I was speaking of, this card being able just to attack and then restand again, whether it hit your opponent's Vanguard, so it can be great early game pressure, or if you Persona rode, so then you have that play as well. And depending on what order you might have placed into the soul, gaining additional card abilities thanks to that also. For the other grade 3 that I run in the deck, 3 copies of the new Ehalton Vogel. When it's placed on rear, counterblast 1, soul blast 1, search your deck or drop for up to 1 grade 3 set order, reveal it, put it into your hand, and if you search your deck, shuffle your deck. And on rear once per turn, when your set order is put into the order zone, this unit gets plus 5,000 till end of turn. So this card is just more search power, being able to choose a grade 3 set order, so you can search out your main go-to Shock Strategy Death Wins thanks to this card. So another reason why we're also running 4 copies of it, just as an easier searcher thanks to this grade 3. Moving on now to the grade 2s, I run 4 copies of Enlightened Age Dragon. If you Persona Road this turn, once per turn on rearguard, you can Soul Blast 1 and discard a card from your hand. This unit gets plus 5,000 to end of turn. Choose a set order from your drop, put it into your hand. Choose a set order from your drop with a different card name from that card that was put into your hand by this effect and put it into your hand. So with this card, you have the option to put the searchable cards like our grade 1 and 2 orders back into our hand for recycled power after we are to Soul Blast them from our soul when being put in from the order zone. So then you have Enlightened Age Dragon to be able to recycle those cards back into your hand. That's why I prefer running 4 copies of this card than multiple copies of the grade 1 and 2. You have a search play with Vogel being able to add the grade 3 from your deck to your hand, but this card gives you more of a search option from the drop zone and making use of the Soul Blast power as well. For the other grade 2s, I run 3 copies of Blue Dester Sachin Ashfuhi with this card. When it placed on rearguard, Soul Blast 2, choose a grade 2 strategy from your drop zone and put it into your hand. So it just gives you the recycle power once again of your going to grade 2 strategy, which is your Bomber Strategy Dusting, which you'll get the search for it with the Ride decks. It'll already be set up there. You can just use this card as an added recycle on top of your Enlightened Age Dragon, or you can even just use your Enlightened Age Dragon as a search for the grade 1 Disruption Strategy Kill Shroud to add it back to your hand. Another one of the grade 1s that I run is, moving on now to the grade 1s, 4 copies of Blue Dester Returning. On rearguard, once per turn, Soul Blast 1, discard a card from your hand, choose a grade 1 strategy card from your drop zone, and put it into your hand. So you have your Asufui for you to be able to add the grade 2. The grade 1 adds your additional order there. So with all of your lineup being just searchable cards for your different set orders, you have these strategy cards being able to be added back into your hand quite easily for you to reuse again, thanks to these cards. I also run 3 copies of Detonation Mutant Bobble Mine just for the countercharge option and building up the soul more for your added Soul Blast for many of our additional rearguard cards that we are running. With this card also providing you with the countercharge play, since you will counterblast quite a bit with your go-to Vanguard, being able to use this restand pressure every time your attack hits or you go for the Persona Ride. With the last of the grade 1s being 4 copies of Violate Dragon. If you wanted to run Elementaria Sanctitude, you can always put it in for this spot right here for you having 1 additional card for the triple drive block against your opponent. With our trigger lineup being 7 critical for the added pressure of a restanding Vanguard. If you wanted the critical trigger with the ability, you can always take out one of the spots here for that card. Our draw trigger being a 4 of spot with 4 of the Ameliorate connector for the additional +5 shield that this card can get. And for our heals, running 2 copies of Cardinal Prima and 1 copy of Creaking World, and 1 of the new Transient Causality for the additional matches that you may go up against a unit with a bigger grade, especially if Dragon Tree is to rise in popularity. With our Over Trigger being our Elder Breath with the double power and critical for all of our front row units when we drive check this card. But that is it for the deck profile. I hope you all enjoyed. It's a really interesting deck, taking a bit from the Nova Grappler playstyle that a lot of us are used to from the older Vanguard strategy, mixed in with some of the new order playstyle for the set orders meant to be used in the deck. And as always, until next time, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe, and Kira Qualia out.